Hey everyone, welcome to our 57th episode of BrewTalk with Mr.Beer. My name is Robert, your host for today. I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in and watch us today. A little housekeeping before we get started. If you do enjoy today's episode or have enjoyed any of our past episodes, please make sure to like them, or share them, or comment on them, or whatever that social media channel is that you're watching them ask you to do. Please do it. It really, helps us out, helps us know we're making good videos, helps us know that you guys are enjoying them, and just makes it a little more fun. We do post these obviously on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog, the notes that I have here. We got them on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. Also, please make sure you're following us on all of our social channels. On Instagram, we do a lot more stories and stuff like that than we do on Facebook. On Facebook, we're real big with our Facebook group, Mr.Beer's Brewing Society. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Mr.Beer's Brewing Society. Answer the 3 questions, we'll let you in. Over 1,200 people strong. It's a great place to hang out. Talk about beer, look at pictures of beer, all kinds of recipes. Just a really cool place. All right, enough of that nonsense. Let's dive into our topic. So today's topic is a little spin of a different one I've done in the past. This is what type of bottles can you use for your home brew? It's a question we see a lot by new brewers, and I've seen it a few times in the Facebook group recently. And obviously, there's a ton of bottles out there that you can use, but we kind of wanted to break down some of our favorite ones we like to use and that you should use, and then ones that you just shouldn't use or that we recommend you to not use. First up, we're gonna keep it in-house. So I'm gonna start with our Mr.Beer. We have the 740 milliliter bottles, which is like a 22 to 24 ounce bottle, I believe. And we have half liter PET bottles, which is about a 16 ounce bottle. These bottles obviously are great for bottling your home brew because we sell them, obviously. But also one thing that we really like about them is one, they're plastic, so you can't, if they drop, they don't shatter, they don't break. Sometimes when you're bottling using a hand capper, you can use too much force, you can shatter bottles just during the bottling process in general. It's a little dangerous, you gotta be a little careful, so these make it a little easy. But I think one of the big reasons that I personally like these bottles is you can do the squeeze test. So basically after you bottle your beer, it's sitting there, it's carbonating. When you know it's fully carbonated, the bottle will be really hard. So you can't do that with like glass or some other things. We can do it with plastic bottles. It's kind of a unique way to know that if your beer is maybe conditioned, or not conditioned, but carbonating a little slower due to temperatures or something like that. You can check to make sure it's ideal. So you don't just guess and assume and throw one in the fridge, it's not carbonated, and you feel like you wasted a beer. So it's a good way to check. So those obviously are some of our favorite ones that we offer. Also, I think with doing these bottles, it's a good way to check to see if you have any leaking bottles as well for the squeeze test. So if you have like 10 bottles that are always looking good, but you got one that's always a little bit soft, you can mark that bottle and check it the next time and see maybe you need to replace the cap or replace the bottle, or it's leaking CO2 out somewhere. So it's a good way to make sure that you're kind of being consistent with your bottling. Next, we're going to move on to that we recommend are obviously pry off glass bottles and swing top bottles. Notice I said pry off glass bottles. These obviously work great and are awesome for storing beers for longer periods of time. So you're going to age a big beer, a big stout, or some of the recipes we came out with, like a Dangerous Contract, which is an American barley wine that's like 17% or something insane like that Zach created. You're going to want to age that for a long time. So you're going to want to bottle that in some swing top bottles or some pry off bottles to help not get oxygen in there. The bottles are easy to clean. Glass really is clean, so it's the plastic, but glass is easy to clean. And also, they're just great for aging. Like I mentioned, anything 5+ months, I recommend using glass. Now, when using these type of beer bottles, like I mentioned earlier, make sure that you're using pry off glass tops. I know there's some glass beer bottles that are on the market that have like the twist off caps. You can't reuse those because those aren't going to cap properly, so those are not going to hold the CO2. You're going to have leakage, you're going to get flat beer, you're not going to be happy. And also even like the metal beer bottles you out there, I wouldn't use those either. I'd stick with our Mr.Beer plastic bottles. I'd stick with pry off glass bottles. Those come in like 12 ounces and 22 ounce bombers. Sometimes you can find some other sizes that are out there. And then swing top bottles, which also come in different sizes. Those are kind of the 4 main ones that we like to use here in the office, that we recommend people use, that we recommend people bottle with. And other than that, you don't really need too much, but there's also other things you can use. Speaking of glass, I wanted to touch on this. I see some people that will bottle their beer in growlers. You just want to make sure you're being careful with this. Sometimes the growlers aren't, in our opinion, aren't designed to hold that kind of pressure that builds up during CO2. So if you let it sit for too long, sometimes they can explode or tops can blow off, and it's just kind of not the best way to do it. So we kind of recommend that, growlers are great for filling up some beer at the homebrew or the local brewery and taking it home and trying it in the next day or so. But remember, it doesn't last that long. It's not designed to carbonate beers. Just be careful when you're doing that process. Make sure you're using beer bottles that are designed to be brewing beer, not the growlers, although they can work. A lot of people do use them all the time. I see it a lot, but it's kind of something that we shy away against. Just some other bottles that you can use is basically anything that has held a carbonated beverage. Like soda bottles are an example for great. I see some people use like 1 liter soda bottles or 2 liter soda bottles and just have a bunch of beer, to drink at one time, which is cool. So just make sure that you're cleaning them out very, very well. Depending on what flavor was in there, you're gonna make sure that they're clean and sanitized and fully disinfected and all that stuff. If you've got any of that flavor sitting in that plastic from like a Pepsi or a cherry Coke or something, that could leach into your beer, which with a stout might not be too bad, but if you're brewing like an IPA, you don't want also get cherry Coke flavor in your IPA. That would not be very good. And obviously, like I mentioned, for any of the bottles that we listed, any size will work, so you don't have to use a certain size of bottles. Just make sure you're adjusting your priming sugar accordingly. Obviously, the bigger the bottles get, the more sugar you need to add. The smaller they get, the less sugar you need to add. So we do have a chart on our website on the carbonation drops page that you can reference. I think I've seen it posted in the Facebook group and a few other places online. Just make sure you're referencing that before you bottle, so you're not over priming or under priming your bottles, because you don't want flat beer. You don't want bottles to explode. You don't have that nice middle point where you get good, delicious, fizzy beer. That's going to wrap it up for you today. We appreciate you guys taking time to watch. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, please like, share, or comment, whatever that platform asks. If you have any topics you want to see us talk about, just comment on them. Shoot us a chat on the website, send a message to customer service, or post something in the Facebook group. If you have not joined our Facebook group, join Mr.Beer's Brewing Society. It's an awesome place to hang out, a great place to get cool information, awesome recipes, great brewing pictures, just all kinds of fun stuff going on in there. We appreciate you guys taking time to watch us. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week. Cheers.